What is going on, everyone, and welcome back to another Black Desert video. So today we're going to be talking about how to make passive silver in this game and very low effort activities to just make silver. So whether you're a beginner, returning player, or just, want to make more silver in the game, which should be everyone, I thought I'd make a list of a few things that I think are pretty helpful, especially for newer players just, trying to get ahead in the game. So in no particular order, I wrote down 5 things for the sake of not making this video too long, but number 1 is setting up your workers and nodes early, simply because it's just probably one of the biggest things you could do to make silver without actually doing anything. So I have a more detailed video talking about what nodes I have for everything on the map, so you guys can see like everything I've chosen. I'll leave a link in the description to that video. But for the sake of making this very easy, how does this work? If you have no idea, these things are nodes. These are the towns. When you put a worker on it, you have to connect the node to a town, and then you get the workers. You can see like the work time and everything, and like what kind of materials they're bringing in, and then it brings it to a town. Not necessarily connected, but nowadays you can just send it to wherever. But basically, it just brings back various materials. You can sell it, use it, and process it, and so on. And that's just easy silver. I think it ranges between a couple 100 million a day, or if you have super min-max ones, probably up to 1 billion a day. Also, how many workers you have, and so on, and like the tier of everything. So what I would recommend for people first is setting up your node empire and then workers based on your contribution points. And then later on, what you would want to do before you min-max the stats on everything, what you want to do is probably just try to upgrade all your workers in every town to at least artisan. That's probably going to reduce the amount of time and also the skills you can have on them. Where it gets complicated is what kind of skills you have on every worker and what they're doing. So this is going to take a long time to actually roll the perfect one. It's going to take a lot of energy. So for most people, what I would do as a new player, start with professional, which is the yellow tier. As you get more energy or you have no idea what to do with your energy, start rolling for artisans. And let me just show you real quickly how you can do this. So in every town, there's a work supervisor person, right? And you could just use your energy and then roll for it's kind of like RNG rolling for the quality, or you could just buy them. I would say sometimes you can get the workers straight up at artisan tier, which even if it looks expensive, trust me, the amount it'll pay itself off over probably a week or so. But you plan on having this long term. So yeah, you get the ones at artisan first, and then you start looking into the skills later on, but that's more of an end game thing. So yeah, that's basically nodes and workers in a nutshell. The more contribution point totals you have, the more you can set up and more silver you make every day. But for a more detailed video, I'll leave that in the description so you can check that out. Now, next thing I want to talk about is literally just by logging into the game. Family fame. We had a video of this also the other day, and that goes into more detail, but bigger number equals more silver. And I would say the combat fame is probably the most important thing to look for, just because it gives you all the amount of silver that you get. Then there's life skills and then knowledge. Knowledge is definitely the harder one, in my opinion, just because you just go out of your way to do it, and it doesn't give you as much. So combat fame, just having more characters at level 56 to 60 being the most points per level. And so yeah, there's that. Also, having more family fame, it also benefits you in a way that you increased item drop rate when you're grinding, and also more silver from central market sales. You don't get taxed as much, or you just collect more. So that's that. Then there's login rewards, obviously. Every MMO has it. You just log in, get free silver. Cool. right now is a pretty good month for all this, and then it lasts for until May 20th. So this current one that's going on, at least here on PC, is pretty good just because we're getting a fat stack of like cron stones and all these materials. So even if you haven't been playing for a while, just log in, collect a bunch of these wards. These are, you know, okay-ish, but usually pretty regularly they have some sort of special tab for random events going on, and I think those are good. All right, so the next thing I want to talk about is trade crates and royal workshops. Now, this is something that it could make a lot of money, but also at the same time, you don't really think about it. You just kind of get stuff and make silver. So basically, you see these spinning, rotating wheel thingies. I have it going on in multiple towns, and those are making trade crates, right? And so, like, for example, you'll make these crates for all the timbers you have if you have a bunch of them. And then maybe like once or twice a year, people remember that they have it, and then they do a fat exchange and probably turn it in somewhere. I think people either do Dalbel Village or Yukjo Street. So distance from the origin point means more silver, and so like wherever you're making it, Morning Light is generally the furthest point and makes the most silver. So the way it works is you make the crates, then you connect the nodes. Like you have to have a node connection where it's like yellow, and then when you do the trade turn in, it's like the bargain mini game, and then that's how you make all the silver and everything. Next thing we want to talk about, while it's sort of connected with trading, is royal workshops. Now this one is something you just kind of set and then you forget about it. Once a day, you basically have the free refresh cost, and then you try to get the, you know, big ticket items, no matter whether you're a life skill, a grinder, PvE or PvP or life skill or so on, and then get the big ticket item and hope for the best. But usually that doesn't happen. So TLDR, how do royal workshops work? You take normal materials that you would just get by gathering, buying it off the market or so on, and then you could turn them, like if you click an item, right? You just get one of these. Let's call them normal materials, and then materials you can get from like the green ones and then the yellow. So green ones are the special ones that you can only get from the workshops. Yellow is the one where you can pick, and then you make a special one that you could exchange by trading, or you could just sell them and so on. But anyway, so like you take your normal materials and then these special ones that you can only get from the green, and then you turn them into like whatever other one, and then that's where the silver comes in. So like every now and then, get a bunch of materials, exchange them, and it's not a lot, but it's something that you don't really think about. You just, you know, forget about it, and then a year later you're like, oh, I have a bunch of materials, I should exchange them, and then you're up a couple billion. So I mean, that's passive. It's not really a lot, but I mean, it's just nice to have. All right, so next thing I want to talk about are life skills. Now, a lot of them are, you know, AFK, but some of them are semi-AFK and very low effort, so I guess we'll talk about it. Also, bartering recently got a buff, which, you know, is pretty semi-AFK. But we'll just run down all the life skills real quickly to the point where let's just talk about it. So what would I do if I didn't have a lot of time, or, you know, I just, you know, check your computer every like half hour or something? What would I do? Starting with fishing. This is literally the most AFK thing you could do. You just set yourself to fish, and then you come back whenever, and then you have a bunch of fish, you sell them. That's how you make silver. Very easy. So one tip I can give you is have a second character under level, or I guess like 49. And I have a dedicated video talking about how to get set up with fishing, and how you can go about min-maxing the amount of time you can AFK fishing by the fish tank and like all the stuff you need. So fishing is literally, you can AFK the longest amount of time without having to come back, and you just make silver. Cooking, alchemy, and processing. These are semi-AFK, and what do I mean by that? It's something you could set and then go AFK, but you have to come back and check it, like, you know, every 15 to 30 minutes because either your inventory gets full or you have to reset the craft you're making. So yeah, if you don't have a lot of time but you like can check back in like half an hour blocks, at let's just say that, it's something that you can just do. And then let's say let me just give you an example. Let's take these timbers for example. We'll call these timbers tier 1 materials, and then we'll call the planks tier 2, and then plywood tier 3. You get a bunch of timbers from your workers, your gathering, and so on. You turn them into planks, right? To tier 2 from tier 1, and then from planks to plywood, tier 3 from tier 2. And then either you craft something with the plywoods, turn them into crates or so on, or you just sell them on the market. Either way, you're boosting the amount of silver you make. And the silver really comes in from the higher tiers, like how much mastery do you have, how fast you can process them, and you get the higher proc chance. Like say you get double procs, that's literally more silver. So yeah, that's good. And then cooking and alchemy, really just material dependent, but overall, like if you make whatever you're making and then sell it, generally profit. Horse training, this one is kind of a mix because it could be very active, or it could be you could just set your horse to auto path from point A to point B, and then you level it up, and then hopefully you get the right skills. You sell the horse, or you turn it into a tier 9, and then you sell it from there. So this one, it really just depends on how you want to do it. You could make this as active as you want, going out of your way catching horses, or you can set your horses to auto path and hope for the best. So it really depends, but training is one of those things where you kind of have to like doing it to do it. Otherwise, you might as well just do something else. Trading, we talked about crates and workshops. Those are like the only two things that you can do right now with trading. So yeah, then there's farming. Farming is literally set your crops on your garden and harvest them when you can. It turns green like mine is right now when they are over 100%. Harvest or breed them and then reset them. It's kind of something you do, like, I guess depends on how active you are, maybe between like 1 to like 4 times a day. And if you do the 10 by 10 like non-magicals, the one I do is 2 per plot. But then there are people that like, what is the thing when you're not harvesting, but when they turn red and then you like prune them, and then that's where more XP comes in. However, I will say farming is one of those life skills where if you're doing it for the XP, after Guru 1 is kind of irrelevant because you want the smaller fences and that's about it. But farming, as in, like it says higher levels reduce the energy consumption and increase speed for harvest. That is so irrelevant. I can assure you that. Like I've tested how much time you actually save, and that is so minimal to the point where farming is not really even worth considering for pushing levels. So what you do with it is, personally, I use farming for contribution XP, so we can make more like imperial crates and everything. But you get a bunch of blush leaves, right? And then you get, if you need tier 9 horses or so on, you can get the byproducts from that, or you just get a lot of contribution points in farming XP. That's what I do with it, and then turn that into there for various other things like nodes, imperial delivery. I think that's a better use of overall byproduct exchange. So yeah, that's that. Really just an AFK thing. You said it and then don't think about it. Selling and bartering. This is one of the things that got buffed in the past week or two, and they made bartering a lot better because they added tier 6 and tier 7 materials, or level 6, 7, so on. And you just make more silver. I don't know how much you actually make, but I know it's significantly a lot more if you're full-time bartering. And so I've seen people say like up to 10 billion, but I think that means you are literally in the ocean all day, every day. But for like casual people bartering, it's probably a couple billion. and it doesn't take too much time. So I think that's still good. That's better than before. So yeah, aside from that, bartering got refreshed, and you just make a lot more silver these days. So that's always good. I was running down all the life skills that I would do. I think for the most people, depending on how lazy you are or how much time you have, just fishing is probably the best one. If you are semi AFK, I would probably try processing or cooking, and then, you know, just make sure to set up your royal workshops, your farms and everything, and just come back every now and then. But those are 5 things I wanted to talk about for making passive silver in this game with very little effort. Let's say you work a full-time job and you don't have access. If you work all day, just go fishing, come back, sell your fish, then play your like hour or so a day, and you'll be good. Yeah, but everything else, one thing I would recommend, if you have your workers, make sure to like have it set when you have your family inventory. Depending on how many slots you have, you could always put like the food or whatever you feed them, and then just make sure they auto use it. I think for me, it's a little bit under 1,000 grilled bird meat a day to feed. How many workers do I have? 168. So I guess maybe more. Like, let's just say 1,000 food, which is very easy to make. And if you have less, obviously you use less, but either way, it's not too bad. And that's what I would do. So good luck with the silver making stuff. And when people say they make, oh, like I make 10, 20 billion silver a day, a lot of that is AFK. And, you know, the amount they grind is a majority of it, I will say. But it's like, you know, grinding an hour, make a couple bill, having passive stuff just being logged into the game is probably like another bill a day. So, and then whatever else you do, like life skilling, gathering, so on. So anyway, that's all I want to talk about. If you have any questions, happy to point you guys in the right direction. Thanks so much for watching. Hope you guys have a fantastic day. And before we do that, I have something to show you. So see you guys in a second. All the BDO partners had the opportunity to show you the new outfit that came out today, the Cerulean Night outfit. Now this one is a special one because it is only for Ranger, Dracania, Kuno, Witch, and Deadeye. And they had another outfit the previous couple weeks for other classes. But it's available on the market nowadays, and I'm going to show you what it looks like, how it dies, just in case you're thinking about buying it, if you think it looks nice. So yeah, you can buy it in the Pearl Shop right now for these exclusive classes. And yeah, I'm going to show you what it looks like by default. We haven't opened it yet, and this is what it looks like. So by default, this is what it looks like. I thought this probably would fit more on like a Ranger or Dracania. And so yeah, this is by default what it looks like. But let's see, how does it die? And is it good? All right, so how much attention to detail do they put? That's kind of what I factor into every outfit. And so like, which parts are changeable? All right, so the first one is this one. For the most part, I think a lot of this would look like good leather and the style. So like Olvian is always good, Hydelian, and then for the metal parts, probably Valencian. So anyway, let's see what all this looks like. So this one, that one is kind of like metal-ish. I think Valencian would probably be the nicest looking one. We're just kind of picking colors, by the way. So if I pick like weird combinations, it is what it is. Yeah, the metal one actually looks fairly nice going with these. And then this kind of looks like leather-ish. So probably Olvian or Hydelian. Let's see which one looks better. And that one doesn't look too bad. It doesn't make it look unnatural. Either one is fine. Attention to detail over here, like the fabric outline. That's pretty good. Oh, the underwear part, I think you don't really see this one as much, but it's a good attention to detail. Shoulder plates, which is clearly metal. So either medallion. Let's see how this looks for a medallion. Ooh, that's kind of shiny, actually. Let's see about this one. So I assume like all these three are probably like the eyes and this thing over here, the mask of the owl. So yeah, probably all metal for this one. Probably looks the best. That's nice. Nice addition to have 3 different parts. Cape is probably fabric, Olvian. Looks nice. And then I assume the bottom part of this and then the side part. It's what I'm guessing. Oh yeah, this is definitely metal for sure. Yep. Different kinds of dyes. So like the main cape, the side part of the cape, and the metal part around it. Nice. All right, going into the gloves. If I had to guess, the rope is going to be one, like the metal plating, and then the leather like glove under it. Let's see how correct I am. This is a oh, I guess these are combined together, like the rope part and that one. Okay. Oh, so let me see. Glove, metal, and then this part in the front. Let's see. Silky probably looks a little bit better. Metal plate, probably Valencian or Medallion. Oh, that one's shiny. And the little trim outline around the side. I guess like whatever looks more bold, I guess, which makes it shinier. Nice. Shoes. It probably is the same, like the leather or the shoe itself, the little trim, and then this little, I guess, like fabric part. Ooh, that looks nice. Like the metal part of it usually goes really well with this one. So let's see that. That looks nice. I like that. And then the trim, which probably black and gold looks kind of cool, actually. I like that one. Helmet. Oh yeah, I guess it's a different piece entirely. The helmet itself, the trim on the side, and probably the front part. Let me guess. Let's see. I think Olvian probably looks the best. I'm not really sure what this is supposed to be, but it probably might be metal. Yeah. Overall, I think the outfit, it looks pretty nice, and it's definitely a different one from the others, so I approve of this one. And the attention to detail on all of these, pretty good. So, yeah, that's what I wanted to show you, what it looks like by default and everything. So, yeah, that's about it. So, anyway, you can buy that off the Pearl Shop now. It came out today. So I just wanted to show you guys what it looked like. And, yeah, just it's right there for everyone else. That's all I wanted to talk about. I'll see you guys later. Peace.